Right, we're on air.
Perfect. No, it still says off air.
For you.
You're live now.
All right. So zero viewers right now, so no one's in yet. But just a little intro, and then we'll just do it again.
Yeah.
But I'm Brandon at Whisky Huntsman, and we're here with Sid, the single malt guy.
And tonight we're tasting the Glendronach Single Cask. This is cask number 658, bottled especially for the Whisky Barrel in UK. So both Brandon and I have a bottle open of this delicious stuff.
All right, now we'll just kind of hang out a sec, see if anyone trickles in. Otherwise, I'm sure people can watch it, after. We'll leave it up on the YouTube channel. Yeah.
So I think, maybe we can just start by like how at least I got into Glendronach was with the revival, which was a 15-year sherry bomb. And I had it at a bar, I want to say 3 years ago, just when it was about to go out of circulation here in the States. And it was instant love. Like, from then on, I was on a mission to find myself a bottle or two.
And did you find some?
I found one bottle, and I kid you not, my wife was living in Boston in 2016. And, I had her spend $100 on Uber to get me 2 bottles from the store in the burbs of Boston.
Wow.
And the bottle cost was $100.
Yeah. Now that costs, I saw one at auction, like 170, 160.
Yeah.
It's going up higher.
I have one right here, which I have opened. So.
Nice.
Have you had this?
I haven't had the 15. I have like
I'll send
18s.
I'll send you a sample.
Awesome. Yeah, that'd be great. I've had I have like 4 18 Allardyces. I had one 21 Parliament I went through, and then this one, and then of course I've had the 12, but that was I think a 2016 bottling, so it was actually 12 years.
Yeah. I believe I have a couple of 2013 12-year-olds bunkered somewhere.
Nice. That's the last year until it was 12-year-old juice, right?
Yeah, it makes it about a 15-year-old whiskey, I think, or thereabouts. I have to refer back to that infographic chart on Google.
Yeah. I heard that one's lovely.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even the new 12 that is coming out, I've heard really good things about it.
All right. Trickling in slowly.
All right, perfect.
We'll just kind of chat a little more, and we'll probably just get going because I can smell this from when I set it down. I'm not sure how long I can resist sipping it.
Yeah, you can smell this from like 3 feet away. It is so good.
And I'm used to that with like Lefroy, with the 10 cask strength, with a few other bottlings where I just pour it. I can smell it. Michter's toasted rye, pour that. I can smell it instantly, and that's what I get with this. Just fills the whole room up.
This one's bottled at 59.3, so it's pretty high ABV as well.
Yeah.
And I remember like how hard it was for me to convince you. I think it took like maybe multiple days worth of this.
Man, because I'm all about the value, and every time I've spent a little more, I've been like they were good, but there's so much good stuff. And I kept thinking the 18 Allardyce, the 21 Parliament were so good. Like, how much better could this really be? And but I'm glad I bought a bottle because we'll get to that near the end, but it is quite a few steps ahead of both of those. So for those trickling in, we have a 1993 Glendronach Single Cask, 25 years old, bottled for the Whisky Barrel.
Yeah.
And this was matured in a sherry butt. So I think I have this right because I know they put the cask type as Pedro Jimenez, Oloroso, et cetera. When it says sherry butt, it means there's both, right?
Yeah. So sometimes I was reading an interview with the previous master distiller, Billy Walker, that somebody on Facebook did. And when first of all, the legality is technically you're only supposed to write the last cask that the bottle was in or the whiskey was in.
Okay.
So this was this could have been in a sherry butt for 25 years, but it could potentially have been in a Pedro Jimenez for like 20 years and then, just redact into a sherry butt for 5 years.
Right. Because I taste both in here.
Oh, there's definitely Pedro Jimenez there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's like sweet, viscous, figgy note.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, the Whiskey Barrel, it's weird. They have like some good pricing, like retail, and then they have a bunch of stuff that's like at secondary pricing and then some. So this bottle is still available, but it shot up. I think it was like 280 before. Now it's 329. So it just keeps climbing. And then they have some other stuff that's like $700 for a previous release or something. And so their prices are hit and miss. Sometimes they're really out of this, like secondary and then some, and sometimes they're right where they should be. So, but
I think the key is to buy the bottles as soon as they launch.
Yeah. And for batch 16, I remember I was on Master of Malt site, and I think that's when they were still shipping to the US. And I checked it, and nothing was there yet. And then I checked it like 45 minutes later, and they were all sold out. So I had just missed that batch 16 release. And then eventually you talked me into getting this one, which took you like 2 weeks to persuade me.
I remember that. So what bottle number do you have? I have 272, 557.
I have bottle number 202.
Okay. Even though I bought this before you, I guess, just the picking.
Yeah. And this got, I think you said this got like a 91 points on Whiskey Base.
Yeah.
So
they're all these sister casks. So supposedly, again, as legend would have it, 1993 is somehow a golden year for Glendronach.
Right.
So it was a combination of the barrels they had and the distillate that was coming out of the stills. I think Glendronach till about 94 or 95 was doing steam coil.
Yeah, they had their own malting floor until they shut down in 96, and they had peat and coal dried malt, I believe. And then after they reopened, they got it sent in non-peated.
Went the more commercial route, I guess. All
right. So let's just dive in, because I'm getting antsy here. This smells really good. What do you get on the nose?
I get a lot of like chocolate oats, maybe some like, I want to say like strawberries or like some like, I get strawberries. And I don't have a, that sharp a nose. I think you're way better than that.
No, I think it's just I search and search. But with this, like immediately I just get this dark cherry, where the first time I remember, even now, it's almost bourbon-like, because there's a lot of wood and oak and a little sweetness and then a bunch of cherry. And I remember this reminds me exactly of the 13-year Knob Creek store pick I had at first. And I just dive in. I'm like, is this a bourbon? This is so rich and deep, dark cherry, and then I get a lot of chocolate.
I think that's a better fruit analogy, like cherries than strawberries. So,
well, strawberries, I recall getting red fruits further down as well when I added some water, which I'll do shortly. But it's just such a rich nose. It's what's funny. The 21 Parliament, to me, when I opened it, was super sulfury, the point where it was a little off-putting, and then after about a couple months of sitting, it got a lot better, which I think added a cool dimension to that bottle, because it was a touch of sulfur, which added, it wasn't off-putting after it opened up. But with this, I don't get any sulfur. It's which surprised me. I thought I'd get some, but I don't get any.
Yeah, I think, I don't know how they manage it, but their cask selection is just second to none. Like older Macallan, I would say, you get the same flavors and taste.
Yeah.
Like I used to gravitate towards the Abuna, the Aberlour Abuna. I mean, that was my first sherry bomb that I had. But late bottle I bought was cask 54 or 50. But I remember like getting sulfury notes, which were very off-putting for me.
The legs on this are really nice. I don't know if you can tell on the camera. Probably not. but they take a while to beat and they're pretty thick.
Oh yeah.
Which, you know, I mean, it's nice to look at, but that just tells me that the mouthfeel should be pretty oily.
I got my little Glendronach Glencairn. I don't know if you
Oh,
can make
nice.
that out.
Nice.
Brandon, I don't know about you, but I can't wait anymore.
All right, let's sip it neat. Wow. I haven't had this in a while. Big, like intense. Woody, sweet syrup, chocolate, cherries, and then alcohol.
Oh yeah. There's that, I don't know if it's astringency, so it like completely coats my mouth and then just, you know, slowly goes down. I
Yeah.
really like that. You can feel the alcohol in a good way, you know, all in your throat and mouth.
Yeah, for 59.3%, it actually feels closer to 50. But that might just be because I've been drinking lots of cask strength lately.
No, but I think it doesn't go down hot. It goes down easy. Like I barely ever add water to these.
So it's a pretty big initial hit. And on the nose, after that sip, I definitely get like clove and cinnamon. And
Yeah.
some other spices I can't really tell. I mean, I haven't had a whole lot of spices, so that's probably why. But
I get some tobacco, like tobacco and like, you know, I want to say dates at the back end.
I definitely see that.
And it's a sweet whiskey, so this is like not something that you begin your evening with. I'd say this is more like a close the night after dinner kind of a whiskey. But you can sit with this for hours and just keep enjoying it.
Yeah, I recall when I first poured it, it developed so much in the glass to where it was almost a different whiskey by the end. I'm gonna add just a touch of water.
Go for it. I'm gonna keep this undiluted.
I just recall last time it got. See, now it's like Fruit City. I mean, dark red fruits everywhere, like plums, figs, dates, prunes. Like a sweet vanilla and honey. Oh, can you see me?
Yeah, I can still see you.
Okay, mine grayed out. Definitely like a vanilla, honey.
There is a hint of vanilla. I agree, which is very unusual for a sherry cask.
Yeah. And then more spices now. It's becoming more complex without water, I feel. Nutmeg, more cinnamon, clove, other spices. I can't even really.
You know what? I'm gonna.
But it's kind of like, and I think I posted this in my initial review. It's almost like that pack of Darwin black clove cigarettes before you light it. Like you smell the pack. That's the spice I get on this.
Yeah, let me add a little bit of water to this.
Covered in chocolate, and then just a ton of fruits. Definitely some blackberries, blueberries, boysenberries. I don't know if I can see comments because I'm in the Hangouts part, and I think the comments will probably show up on YouTube. Actually, I can have that up separate here. Let me see.
So I added a dash of water as well. So
I know a lot of people are like purists; they want to leave it alone, but I really find a little bit, like even like a quarter teaspoon, does pretty well for these. I think last time I kept adding water my first time, just kind of experimenting with it.
I think it definitely numbs or lessens
Does pretty well for these. Hold on. I think last time I kept adding water my first time, just kind of experimenting with it. Let me
I think it definitely numbs or
mute this.
lessens
pretty well for these. I think last time I kept adding water my first time, just kind of experimenting with it. Let me
I think it definitely numbs
Hold on. Sorry, I brought up the YouTube because the comments are on YouTube, so I'm bringing that up right now. But I gotta mute the page. One sec. The comments are on YouTube, so I'm bringing that up right now. But I gotta mute the page. One sec. The comments are on. All right. Well, it's not muting, so that's okay. I'll just turn it off so that doesn't get too annoying. That's a bummer. I'll check the comments in a bit, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I think we were on the tasting note. So yeah, it's definitely more like spices. You get some, I get some orange peel, some cloves, cinnamon.
Yep. I get a lot of like, I say this a lot, I think, with sherry matured stuff, but this like cake batter, I always talk about like funfetti cake batter.
Uh-huh.
Like donut dough. It's almost like a cinnamon coffee cake. Very good. Oh God, that's fucking good.
You know, I used to be a big Glengoyne fan, and I think you are as well. But this just came into my life and eclipsed it all.
Yeah, you know, the Glengoyne 25 doesn't touch this at all. Oh man, the finish is long.
It is. Yeah.
This intense, like kind of tongue tingling burn.
Uh-huh.
It kind of like fades off with these woody notes, spices, sugar, and just like this like there's a little bit of bitterness on the back end, but it's not. It's actually very enjoyable. It's not off-putting. It's not over oaked or anything.
Oh, not at all.
But it separates itself. I mean, this is clearly in its own league, I think, as far as sherry matured Scotch goes.
Definitely. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is my favorite distillery now, followed by Bruichladdich.
It's a big, I mean, I don't blame you. They're doing things the right way. And so far, since their takeover again, it seems like they're keeping up with where Billy Walker left off. Or Ben Riach, yeah, it was Ben Riach first, right? Then Billy Walker, or Walker, then Ben Riach now.
So Billy Walker actually bought the distillery. So he bought Glendronach and Ben Riach together. And then he sold it to Brown-Forman, I want to say a year ago, or maybe a little over that. And then because he was going to retire, but now he's bought a distillery called Glendronach, if I'm saying that name right. And I'm very intrigued at trying what he's going to do there.
Yeah, he seems well at rebranding and.
Yeah. But what's interesting is even though he left Glendronach when this was bottled, it has his name on it, like Billy Walker.
Yeah, that's right. He signed it.
So
he signed it. I mean,
Patch has Rachel's name on it, and she's a wonderful person. I met her at Whiskey Fest this year. Great to talk to, very down to earth, just a lovely person, and she brings so much pedigree. Joining Glendronach.
That's good. I think as far as they're probably my favorite Speyside distillery. And then, of course, Springbank, and now Kilchoman's coming up on me, and Lefroy. I mean, I like it.
Yeah.
So many distilleries, but I like the fact, I just like people that stick to traditional methods and do as much as they can on site. And I think that Glendronach is still thinking about like us, the connoisseur, not just, mass production.
Yeah. Yeah. In terms of like their output, I believe they're only doing about 1 million liters of whiskey a year.
Yeah.
But these single casks are becoming so popular. Like Bat 16 sold out in like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna take a hazard a guess that Bat 17 is gonna sell out even faster. It's like
that's gonna get ridiculous.
Crazy about this.
And what sucks is like you think, at least for me, I mean, of course, if you like Glendronach, you're gonna trust that whatever you buy is gonna be up there on par with what you've had. But it's also nice to kind of let the release hit, see what people are saying as their favorite bottles, and be able to buy it. But unfortunately, you can't unless it's on auction. Which you've done well on those auctions. You've gotten some good deals.
Yeah, so I just you know have had the good fortune of meeting some very nice people just like you through social media, and I purchased about 4 bottles of Glendronach Single Cask, which are released exclusively for the Taiwan market.
Uh,
And I kid you not, I was telling you I was trying a sample before this earlier in the evening, and it beats this bottle.
wow,
It beats this bottle.
that's saying a lot. 'Cause this bottle's amazing.
And it's about the same price range. So I paid about like 330 a bottle delivered to my house.
Nice.
Not bad.
You know, and here's the thing, like I've had a few bottles that have been up there in price, and then a few samples and stuff, and not many of them have lived up to the price tag. You know, like this definitely does, which is really nice to see.
I would still say the Glendronach is a lot of value for money. Like, I mean, this is a 25-year-old single cask whiskey. If this was a Macallan, this would have been 2 grand.
Oh yeah, easy.
And harder.
Cheaper than their exceptional cask. I think their youngest one, right? Isn't that youngest one like 250 or something?
Yeah, 250, which was a 12-year. I had a bottle. I opened it. It's great. It's delicious whiskey.
Do you get like a vinaigrette? I get like a musky vinaigrette balsamic, but
Is it
it's
more like
very sweet.
I detect caramel more than a vinegar?
Caramel. Yeah, definitely. Coffee, brown
Like
sugar.
chocolate, coffee, caramelly note in there.
Mhm. And the thing is, like these are might sound like basic notes, but this is intensified and deeper than anything solely sherry matured that I've had. And like you told me before I bought it, you said it's the Glendronach 21 Parliament on steroids. And I love the Parliament. So it literally is. It's like if you take the Parliament, take out the sulfur, and then just amplify everything to like 10. That's what it is.
Absolutely, yeah. So did I send you the 12-year single cask?
You did. Yeah. That was very good. In fact, I side by sided with the 18 Allardyce, I believe. And I couldn't come up to a conclusion of which I liked better because they were just different styles.
Okay.
But I
Next, open another single cask. I'll send you a sample as well.
nice. Oh, see, I've been getting to the point where it's just like I got into Scotch, got into some bourbon, just started buying bottles. Oh, this is cheap, this is a good price. I heard this is good. Buy. And then I finally kind of found like what I really enjoy. And now I'm to the point where when I sit down with a bottle or a glass, I just want to be able to pour it and nose it and enjoy it and kind of meditate over it, relax, reflect, and like. But I notice when it's something like this, or like the Fred 10 cask strength, or even Glendronach 18, etc. I just am able to do that a lot better, and I don't even want to pour other stuff. But when I pour something that's like so, it's like, I need something else to get my fix.
I know.
So I'm definitely going forward, focused more on exactly like my style, which this is right up my alley.
No, the Kilhomans are really popular now, and they're good. I've had the port cask matured one.
I had a sample of that recently. Phenomenal. So pomegranate and then red berries now for sure. Your strawberries coming up, pomegranate, and then dark cherry. This dark like woody cherry, like some sweet oak.
Uh-huh.
It's really like a bourbon, like a mid-aged bourbon, like a mid-teen cask strength bourbon, but with more like other subtle complexities and depth than I recall.
Yeah, it's sweet in a very different way.
Right.
There's like a lot of allspice, vanilla. This is just such a well-rounded. I mean, it's really integrated well. The cask hasn't, overpowered the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
It is just so good.
It is ridiculous. So, it's so good. I can bathe in this. And I think I did say on my Instagram post initially that I felt like I was sitting in the cask.
Uh-huh.
I totally, because I'm like when I nose it, it's all these notes: chocolate, berries, cinnamon, all this spice, and then there's that wood, that like dusty, like earthiness.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there's like this dry oak,
Mm-hmm.
maybe licorice.
Hmm? Man, I can't believe it's still for sale. I think maybe because the price went up a little bit, but still, $3.29 for this is. I mean, that's kind of the going rate nowadays.
Yeah, I mean 329, and I think the Glengoyne 25 is about the same price.
It is, and this is way better. And I love the Glendronach 25. When I was like, oh wow, this is one of the best I've had. And then this blew everything out the water. I mean, it's so dark. My God,
Probably because it's like 59%, and you know.
it is, and it pisses me off. Just like Bal Blair 1983. Like, why are you going to bottle that at 46%? I mean, at least it's 46%. But if it was cask strength, it would have been way better.
So this is little tangential to the Glendronach, but there is a Gordon and MacPhail Bal Blair that I probably mentioned to you.
You did, yeah.
It's about 200 or just over. That is phenomenal whiskey too. It was bottled at like 52%.
Yeah, I saw that one. I think Whiskey in the Six reviewed that one too. I don't know. I think it's the Bal Blair, the sherry,
Yeah, single cask Bal Blair.
yeah. Yeah, but when you have something that's like, okay, I get you have 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds that are diluted down, chill filtered, mass production, but when you start getting up in age, it should be cask strength. But I know, yeah, the Angel share but I mean that's okay. Just bottle it.
I think, what people, or not people, but companies try and do is they're trying to get more product out to the masses.
Yeah.
And then, they add water. So that's why it's bottled at 43% or sometimes even 40%, like, which is criminal.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, this is good. I just, I've been scoring stuff on a 10-point scale, but I have a 100-point scale, and I'm kind of going to give a score. I was just charting down some stuff on the nose and taste and finish and balance and everything.
I have a little tasting book as well that I keep where I just write.
Yeah. Oh, those tasting wheels are very, very useful because, I mean, a lot of people use them. I mean, I have a tasting wheel printed out upstairs that sometimes I'll go to when I have something super complex that I look at, and it helps a little bit. But sometimes I also feel like doing that, like if I read something like, oh, you know what, I do get that in here when it might not be there. Mm-hmm. So I do like to kind of sit down and nose and taste and think about like what it reminds me of. Now I'm getting that leather, that like a leathery tobacco.
Yeah. There's like that wisp of tobacco leather hints in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so much chocolate. It's like chocolate syrup that's not sweetened.
And when you taste this, even if anybody didn't know what this is, you can just, when you taste it, it's like old whiskey.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, fuck. Ridiculous. And for me to say that now is interesting because my palate's changed so much. From I used to just enjoy like Macallan 12 and Glendronach 12, and then I got into like expert matured stuff, which didn't impress me too much. And I got into Springbank and then the peated stuff, and now it's like I just want peat, and Springbanks and all this stuff. But it got to a point where when I have something more entry level, it just doesn't do it for me. And this still blows my mind. Quite frankly, it's really good. And
I had the good fortune of trying a Lefroy 25 at my last whiskey event. One of my local friends here, Paul Barrett, he got the Lefroy 25, and I tried it. Really good. Like, I'm not a big peaty whiskey person, right? I can do medium, or like Ardbeg's my comfort zone, not a Lefroy or a Lagavulin. But that Lefroy 25 was just delicate.
Yeah, I want to try their 25. They're 18 I have, and it's phenomenal. And the Lefroy classic peat notes in the background on that pour, and I get so much more fruit, and it's just a different experience. Totally different than the 10 and the 10 cask strength and the quarter cask and everything else. It's a beautiful whiskey, so I'm sure the 25-year-old is amazing.
And it wasn't bad. It was at sale on Binny's for about $325, $330 again in the same price range as this one.
Nice. Yeah, it's actually well priced for a
Mhm.
25 year these days, a Lefroy. Man, I can just there's just so much dark chocolate now, and just it's just so much fruit too, all integrated. Just the plums and it's the same notes. I know it's like plums, figs, yeah, like every sherry bomb, but this thing is, it's just it's so rich, it's ridiculous.
It is.
And I know they have two dunnage warehouses still. Is that right? And then
I'm not
two.
sure on that.
I think they still have done, and I wonder if this is from that one of those warehouses because I just get that earthy, like musky floor.
So is
It's
Dun
dirt.
are
It's
they
like dirt.
three high? The barrel's three high. Is that what a dunnage is?
Yeah. Well, then they have well, I should look that up because
I'm
I
I'm gonna look that up too. Because
want to know. So vanilla cake batter, honey, and now I get like a pancake mix. Like if you just make pancakes before you cook it and you smell a bowl,
huh?
that's there. Brownies, and that alcohol note's still there. It's just probably like, I mean, I think a quarter teaspoon in or so. They're probably still at like 54% or so. It's very drinkable.
All right, you ready? So
Yeah.
warehouses are low rise with stone or brick walls, earthen floors, and a slate roof, with the casks stacked on top of each other, a maximum of three high. So I kind of remember that three high. And the other one is racked warehouses, which are more like high rise buildings. So casks all
Right.
the way up.
I think they have two dunnage, and then the other two are rafts. And I just, from the earthiness I get from this bottle, I wonder if it's from the dunnage warehouse. I guess we could find out.
Remind me, I'll send you an email about an interview that Rachel did with a friend of mine recently. There's a Facebook group called the Glendronach Appreciation Society.
Yeah, I had joined that one a while back. Oh man, I can see why people are hoarding these
Yeah,
because you don't find this quality whiskey anymore for the
agree.
price.
And I've getting multiples or like at least two of each single cask that I buy, unless if I was buying it at auction, because then I can open one and like open another one 5 years, 10 years down when this is going to be like a Macallan 25,
Exactly.
and I'll be opening us like a amazing whiskey at that time.
Right. Yeah. These are just gonna keep going up in price, but if you can get the release,
Yeah,
and you just it sucks because I ask like, hey, when is it gonna be, and they don't tell me. Of course they'll say, oh, just keep checking our site.
yeah,
But there's ways you can kind of find out when they're gonna hit. And honestly, still at auction, you can find some good prices, and there's still some good prices on the websites. I've still seen them around in UK sites.
yeah. I've actually like probably done half the bottle already now.
Yeah, I'm I'm down past the neck. I'm trying to make it last. I'll probably end up getting another one. Definitely won't be my last single cask, but I think for me, when I had your single cask 12 sample, it was very good. Great experience. I liked it more than most sherry malts I've had, but that one, I was like, I think I want to get the more aged single cask because there's just that next level of depth and a little bit more oak and this age that you can just nose and taste, and it just gives you that wholesome experience,
I
and
agree with
that's
you.
what you're paying for, really.
I mean that 12 single cask is now a daily drinker.
Right.
Um,
And it's almost like, okay, well, the 18 Allardyce here is now 145 USD, which is a great price for it. That's kind of the upwards of what I'd still pay. Like, it used to be 180, it just dropped. So I don't know why it dropped so much.
I have a secret for you, Brandon.
Yeah,
You can get those delivered from the UK for $90.
yeah. I've seen them online still. Yeah. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Order two or three of them, get it shipped in.
So, talking about, I know we've been like singing praises about Glendronach, and this is not something against Glendronach, but more against Brown Forman, because they really need to figure out their prices for the US.
Mm-hmm.
There was a single cask that came out, 93, 24-year-old cask 415. That's still available at stores for anywhere between $650 and $700.
Wow.
And it's just going to sit on the shelves. Nobody's going
Yeah.
to pay that price.
No one's going to buy it.
when you can get it the same bottle from the UK for half the price.
Yeah, that is interesting. I've noticed that on the 21 Parliament, on the 18 Allardyce, like you said, on all the Glendronachs, they're cheaper overseas.
I mean, they're 50.
Well,
They're like half the price. I just got a bottle, 2 bottles of Parliament delivered from UK, and I paid 130 each delivered.
wow, that's good.
Mhm.
A great price on the Parliament.
It's from the same Whiskey Barrel.
Yeah, yeah. See, they have good pricing, and then like all of a sudden you're like, what? Like the Freud 10 cast drink just released not too long ago, and most sites have it for about 70 to 80 euro
Euros or pounds.
euros or pounds. Yeah, they have it for like 249. I'm like, what? That makes zero sense. But it's because they're pricing it like for demand, and most are pricing in secondary and more. But I still do like the Whiskey Barrel because there's some good prices on there too. You just got to sort through it and see, what you want. Like I saw some great independent bottlings of Kale, et cetera, that were really good price. And then boom, you'll hit something. You're like, what? That's a whack price.
Yeah.
But they did a great job selecting this. My goodness.
Yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm gonna select one more cask soon. There's the store in France. It's called La Maison du Whisky. That's the name of the store. And Glendronach does a bottle for them every year. And I was scouring through Whiskey Base, and all of them are like 91, 92 rated.
Wow.
And that one's actually not that bad. It's about 200 euros, so it makes it cheaper.
That's a good price.
Yeah.
Those are good scores for Whiskey Base.
Definitely.
Man, there's just so much fruit. It's ridiculous.
The other thing is also, even after you finish, like my glass is empty, I drank this fairly quickly.
Easy to do.
You can feel the whiskey in the back of your mouth. Like this stays and lingers on.
I get a little bit of like a smokiness, like not in the whiskey or the nose or when I finish, but like since my last sip now, when I like I get this smokiness that's really faint.
Yeah, I mean Glendronach did use peat back then.
Yeah.
But it's not really peat. I agree. There's like that wisp of smoke.
Yeah.
Like old. There's like old cask influence in there of some kind.
Yeah, it's very minimal, and I get it only after the finish, and it's just, but it's very good. I can still I feel like it's still in my mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
And really, I shouldn't be sipping it this fast, but it's kind of hard to put down. So it sucks. It's so easily drinkable, but at the same time, it's big enough of a whiskey to let you take your time. Oh man.
All right. So what's your final score on this?
Oh man. It's up there. Well, I got 91 just when I added my 4 categories, but I mean I feel like it's a little bit higher than that.
I would say this is like a 90, 92, 93 for me.
Yeah.
There's one better cask, single cask that I've had. I would rate that at 95.
Wow.
But this, for $300 of what I paid when this was released, like 4-5 months ago, this is just stunning stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if I didn't be so critical, I'd be like, oh, it's a 93, 94, but got a 91. And if on my 10 scale, I would be like 9.5 out of 10. I mean, it's close.
I mean, scoring aside, like for $300, I would recommend this bottle. This would be a great gift to anybody. or just, treating yourself to something special. And the case is, comes in, it's such a nice presentation. I like how it's like a coffin. I call it a coffin box.
It does look like a coffin.
But it is just like good presentation, great whiskey, value for money is how I would put it.
Oh, for sure. That's all that matters these days anyways. Yeah, scoring is just, it's so like, it doesn't really matter. But I like to kind of score things so just for my own tracking of my enjoyment. And then it changes. I mean, in 10 years from now, stuff I scored an 8 might be like a 5 because just the whiskeys you have. So you just never know, like someone's background and what they've tasted all accounts for it. But I agree. All I really care about these days is that it gives me an experience. It gives me a journey to go through and it's value for money. And this is totally it.
Yeah, I think it hits all those points.
It's just like chocolate, wood, fruit, spice extravaganza just turned into 11. I know I'm just repeating the same thing, but man.
Well, since you have left in the glass, I'm going to
pour it in my nostril.
I'm going to pour myself a little.
So I wonder how, in fact, I should probably go get the bottle. I don't know how long we want to make this, but I wonder how this would compare to the Bunnahabhain 14 PX finish, because it actually reminds me of that, except that one's way sweeter. But
it is way sweeter.
Way sweeter. It's like a sweet cake bomb, but with some time and a little water, it does melt out a little bit, and it's almost more similar to that than a 21 Parliament to me in a way. But not, I don't think the 14 is better than this, but I just, in my head, thought just now, like, I wonder how that would compare.
Yeah, I agree. You sent me the bottle for that. I remember. So it is more sweet, or sweeter than this, but it's also very light. I feel it's like, it's not as viscous or thick as this one.
Right.
And it's probably because it's been finished in Pedro Jimenez casks and not just like matured in a first fill butt.
Right. Exactly.
So that makes the difference.
You know, that slight bitterness is very slight, but I fucking love it.
I do too.
It's just, here's my problem nowadays. And this is very, very, like, if I have, I'm going to say Lafroy 10 cast strength again, because it's a good example. Like, it's 10 years old, it's cast strength, and when I nose it, taste it, I can taste the maturity, and I can taste that it was well done and that it's a good spirit going into the cask. And then when I have like the Lafroy Madeira cask, it tastes very, the mouthfeel, the palate is very thin and it tastes like there's no maturity at all. And not that it has to be old, because Kilchoman, like the Makir Bay, blew me away, and that's very young. But I think it has to do with a good quality spirit, your methods used, active cask, etc. And I feel like a lot of whiskey these days is kind of, you get that thinner mouthfeel, rushed kind of, like rushed to put out. And with the Glendronachs, not just this, but all the Glendronachs I've had and other brands too, I get that maturation. And I feel like there's not many people making whiskey like this. Well, I think Springbank, Glendronach, Val Blair makes great stuff too. There's many whiskey distilleries for sure, but I feel like there's a lot of junk too, and there's a lot of stuff that's thin and just kind of rushed out there. And I can taste it now where I couldn't really taste it before.
I agree. I think Springbank is doing great things with their whiskey as well.
Yeah. And I like Kilchoman has their own malt farm and everything. It's beautiful. And it's so young. I'm like, how do they get the taste so good? It's just their spirit. I think their spirit is so good that it's just such a good distillate, and their casks are from Buffalo Trace. I think they're mostly first fill, I believe.
First fill, yeah.
And I think Lafroy is mostly first fill. They get Maker's Marks casks, and then when they're done with them, they send them to Chivas for their stuff. So I think most Lafroys, I think, are predominantly first fill, but I could be wrong. Oh man, it sounds like it's like I'm smelling a box of chocolate covered raisins now.
Yeah.
I feel like if you just poured like 4 ounces and just let it sit for like an hour and then slowly nosed it and then drank it over the course of like 3 or 4 hours, you would have a completely different whiskey at the end.
I agree. And you know what? Since I drank my pour pretty quickly, I poured this, and this was like I was drinking water after. But this, I mean, and it's one of my first loves with whiskey. So I'll send you a sample of this for sure.
Awesome, man. Wow. Yeah, I don't know what you can drink. If you start your night with this, you can't drink anything else.
Drink anything else.
Not straight bourbon.
Yeah.
Everything else is gonna taste thin.
Yeah.
My goodness.
I'm just glad we did this, and hopefully for anybody who stops by and watches our video, you know, please feel free to comment, reach out to Brandon or I, the Whiskey Huntsman or the Single Malt Guy, and you know, if you have any questions for us, let us know.
Yeah, this is the idea, man. When you came to me and said, "Hey, let's review the bottle we both have," I was like, "All right, you know, it'd be fun." I've never done this on camera or anything, but
yeah, my first as well, you know.
And I just have the YouTube from my Gmail. Like, it's not like we have like a channel we're trying to promote.
Yeah.
It would be kind of fun to review stuff on or at least live or just pre-recorded too. I mean, that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
But there's so many reviewers. I just kind of like writing them down, get on Instagram. But I think it'd be fun to do this when we have the same bottle of something. It'd be cool to review together.
Or always exchange samples and then, you know, do reviews together.
Yeah.
And maybe a disclaimer that, you know, this was our own purchase. Nobody paid us for doing this.
Yeah. I bought this with my own cash.
All right, Brandon.
All right, man. Well, hey, thanks for getting together.
Yeah.
I might pour another one and just sit with it for a while.
All right. Take care. Have a good night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.